Good morning and welcome to another episode of the Tranquil Cottage Knits Podcast. This would be episode number 4. I am your host, Michelle, and I can be found on Ravelry as Tranquil Cottage and on Instagram as Tranquil Cottage Knits. And there was one more place and I forgot where it was. Oh, the blog. tranquilcottageknits.weebly.com. That's where I put my show notes and some additional pictures and things like that in the middle. So please stop on by, say hello. I am damp. It stormed here all day yesterday. For those of you who haven't listened to the first couple episodes, I am in the Shenandoah Valley in Virginia, in a lovely little town called Front Royal, and it's me and my husband and our 2 rescue dogs, Callie and Tucker, and a few rescue cats, and 1 rabbit named Cecil, and our little swimmer kitten, who is just the most adorable thing. Her name is Quinn, and she was born with something that's called swimmer syndrome, and so we are fostering her. We have a home for her, a permanent family, but in the meantime, what we're doing is correcting her swimmer kitten issues. If you've never heard of that, essentially Google will tell you a lot, but it can be because of nutritional deficiencies. It can be because they didn't have enough ample room in the womb, but essentially, rather than standing up on her back legs, they just kind of go out like this and she swims along. But we had a great victory this week. She actually started kind of, we call it her little swimmer scamper. She can get her legs under her and she'll kind of start off trotting, but as she goes, because she's not able to kind of grip her toes in anywhere, they just kind of go out a little bit, but she actually is sitting with her feet underneath of her, so all the physical therapy is working, and she's doing really well. We're really proud of her. So that is my animal family out here in the horrendously hot and steamy Shenandoah Valley. It is, I don't even know what the temperature is. I should have looked it up, but I'm guessing it's got to be near 90. I tried, actually, after shower this morning, root lift serum, kind of blow dried it a little bit, and it is just not working out well. But it's already started raining twice since I've been out here to record. I could record inside, but I am, since I'm new to this, I'm a little self-conscious. My husband is a huge podcast junkie. He watches people all the time, and I'm a little self-conscious in front of him with this, just because I am so new to it. So that, and it's a great time for me to bring the dogs out. They get to run around, play, and I get to sit outside and just enjoy the weather, although today not terribly enjoyable, and I'm waiting on it to start raining again because it's done it twice since I've been out here. So I'm going to hope that I can just get through the podcast without that happening. A couple interesting things that have happened this week. My rescue dogs, Callie and Tucker. Callie, our favorite curse words in the house is "damn it, Callie," because she eats everything. She chews everything. She is a voracious chewer. Despite having toys that she's allowed to chew, and bones and nylobones and all different kinds of things like that she's allowed to have, she will still every single time go for things that she shouldn't have. My husband, one of his hobbies on the side is building custom keyboards. And yesterday she chewed a keycap that was about $8 by itself, just for that one aqua blue keycap. And they were being good. I was knitting. I happened to hear this kind of crunch sound, and I look over and I said, "What do you have?" And she immediately is contrite, but is determined to swallow whatever it is before you can get close enough to find out. And so, like, Callie, what do you have? And she's like, like, nothing, Mom, nothing, I'm good. And yeah, I wedged keycap out of her mouth. And my husband was so not pleased with her. But I would like to say that's what he gets for not having them, put up and away. But the truth of the matter is, if she thinks you are not looking, she will climb up on the dining room table. She will. She's 55 pounds. She's a rather large lab. Just not a lot of common sense there, though. And she has no idea she's a lab. She's petrified of water. She's hilarious. But she is our baby, and we adore her. My husband's slightly less so now that she's eating his keycaps. But she also this week decided that life was not interesting enough. So she decided to play out in the yard and find this little tiny hole. And my goodness, what could this be? Maybe there was a smell. I don't know. Maybe an odor of something living down in that hole. Bumblebees. So I am trying to wrangle 135 pounds of dog into the house because she decided that she was going to dig up the bee's nest. So she just full tilt in, dig. Bees are coming out. They're stinging her ears. She's trying to bite them. It's a nightmare. So I'm like literally trying to get them in the door without bees attached to them. And so I brought Callie in first because she's the one who dug the hole and the one that the bees were going after the most. So I got her, drug her in, came back out for Tucker, trying myself not to get stung amidst the swarm of bees, but the husband's allergic, so spiders fall to him, bees fall to me. I love those marital give and takes. So that derpy dog, Callie, leave it alone. Oh my God, you idiot. She's sniffing in the bee's nest again. Come on, girl. Come on. Come on, puppy girl. I may have to bring her down here and have her sit with me because I don't want to go through that again. So that was like crazy thing number one. I also, bear with me, I'm iced coffee. It's early. My husband makes the best cold brew. So I'm trying to keep an eye on her too and just make sure that she doesn't start digging in the bee's nest because it just won't end well. Yeah, I may have to bring her down here. So the next thing that happened this week is I discovered I am absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely. So I went to knitting group and I knit with a few lovely ladies and we're all just kind of sitting around. I host it at our local coffee house, Happy Creek Coffee and Tea in Front Royal. They're at the corner of Jackson and High Streets. And they are wonderful. I absolutely love them. I think I mentioned before when we had Worldwide Knit in Public Day, I went to, there's a whole lot of birds upset behind me. I don't know what's going on. Probably one of the neighborhood cats is back on the hill. So we had Worldwide Knit in Public Day. I went to the owner of Happy Creek Coffee and Tea. Because they have this huge patio area out back, but they don't really use it because it's a very old building. I think one of the doors in there that they have a little sign on it that says that's one of the original barn doors, and it's like circa 1835 or something like that. Very, very old historic building. But when I went to the owner, Carson, and I was like, how much would you charge for me to rent out your patio for Worldwide Knit in Public Day? He was like, take it. Yeah, absolutely. And so that was such an amazingly generous thing. And so I plug them wherever I can, not only because their lattes are amazing, but and I don't even do gluten-free, but I still do their bakery items because they're just that good. And I think it's one of the moms of the owners, I think, don't quote me on that one because I'm not 100% sure, make homemade English toffee. That is phenomenal. So that's where our knitting group meets. We meet there every week. Callie, leave it alone. We're going to have a catastrophe again, aren't we? We came out of that episode referring to the bees as the winged Bitey-Beasts. So I keep telling her, don't anger the winged Bitey-Beasts because they'll come after her. And what does she do? She pokes her nose right in their nest again. So anyway, where we have our knitting group is just, they're wonderful. And so we meet there every Wednesday from 6 to 8. And so we're hanging out there and then we're chit-chatting. And we started talking about Cecil, my rabbit, and how he's a fuzzy lop. And we're having problems with the air conditioning on the level that he is in the house. We have 3 levels. And the level that he's in, we're having a problem with the AC. And it was getting pretty hot in his room. But we keep him separated because I don't want him to be traumatized by the cats. So, Callie, leave it. Good girl. So, we're talking about, I didn't shave him down, but I trimmed him down. Because it was obvious that it was a little too warm for comfort for him in his room. So I trimmed him down. I did a lot of research online before I even attempted it, and I didn't shave him clean, but I did. He's a fuzzy lop, so his staple is like that long. So I trimmed him down to about that, just where I could be comfortable to make sure that he wasn't getting nicked at all. And he took it very well. I have a lovely bag of fiber that I can actually spin. So we're sitting there at knitting group and we're trying to decide what I could potentially use this fiber for, this rabbit fiber. And so we're trying, is it enough for mittens, and all this stuff. And out of the blue, without realizing how ridiculous it was, I came up with the idea, wouldn't it be adorable for me to spin the fiber into yarn and knit a sweater for the rabbit? When I proposed that brilliant idea, the entire table fell silent, and we all just kind of looked at each other and then lost it. So I totally did not realize. It was ridiculousness. Anyway, so that was the first thing. And the second thing, I play Words with Friends a lot. I am a Scrabble junkie. I love board games. Such a board game geek anyway. But I don't own any because my husband is so disinterested, and so I don't really have anybody to play board games with. So, since that's the case, I'm not into them because I just don't get to play. Joanna Spring from Knit Spin Farm and Amy Beth from The Fat Squirrel Speaks both love board games and would talk about them sometimes, and Amy Beth will do board game segments, and I love it when she does that because I get to find out about a lot of board games that I would never get experience with otherwise. Although I did buy the World War Z Zombie Apocalypse board game. My husband loves zombies, so he says he'll play it with me, but then he's like, I hope it's just not boring. Great. So, so as I'm playing these games and, like Words with Friends and pretty much anything like that, I realized this week I was trying words with accents. Like, yeah, a boot, the Canadian about, not a word. I think I tried peacoot. I don't know why. And I've also been having moments where I can't figure out why meh won't work. Like I said, I evidently am completely and utterly ridiculous and didn't even realize it. So, although my husband would tell you, I'm sure he's quite aware. So that was 16 minutes of ridiculous. So I guess we should go on to knitting and spinning. For my spinning, I messaged one of my friends yesterday because I am so frustrated with my spinning wheel. Normally, I have no problems, but I switched to a jumbo flyer and large bobbins. And ever since I've done that, my bobbins, the whirl end, it's jumping its little hook that's in the maiden. And I'm trying to figure out exactly how to fix it. I think, honestly, the answer probably is going to be to go back to the smaller bobbins because I never had a problem there. But if any spinners have an idea, let me know. I think the little hook that's in the maiden, I think I'm going to order a new one. My husband said he can 3D print me one that's deeper. It broke my brain. I really couldn't figure out what it was, and I was angry because I needed, I was going to compete in the Tour de Police with Knit Spin Farm, on the Knit Spin Farm team, and I haven't been able to spin because I don't have any empty bobbins. So I'm trying to empty bobbins out, and I had this most beautiful, glorious bobbin of hand spun. It was, when I spun it, I was so careful to do it evenly, and it was just because it was one of the most beautiful, beautiful, beautiful fibers I've ever worked with. The colors are just, I can't even show, they're glorious. And I spun it in beautiful, like it had the perfect color succession, and the goal was to Navajo ply it, so it'd be a very slow gradient, and it was so pretty. And so I took the leap yesterday to ply it, and I tried to be patient, but I had so many problems with the bobbin jumping the maiden that it is an uneven wreck. So I am so disappointed right now, and my spinning wheel is in timeout. Take that, Edith. So, now I think probably this afternoon I'm going to go try and empty a couple smaller bobbins, and once I do that, I'll go ahead and try to jump back in again. But it was very, very frustrating. So either that, or I'm going to go ahead and take my take that part off the maiden and let my husband 3D print me a deeper one. But goodness, it was so frustrating. So frustrating. And now this beautiful bobbin of this glorious, glorious colorway is crap. I'm so aggravated with it. I thought I'd be over it by this morning, but apparently not. So that is the not spinning. And on to the knitting. Normally I'm such a happy knitter and spinner. Today I'm just like, Edith. Edith is my Ashford traditional. Eleanor is my great wheel, my walking wheel. She's huge, huge. So I have been working on Drachenfels, which here is the picture by the lovely Melanie Berg. And I cast on that as well as the Slinky Ribs sweater. And Slinky Ribs also. I brought out the book. Poor Slinky Ribs. I absolutely love it. I've wanted this sweater for so long. Way back when this sweater was a dream of mine. And being so much heavier back then, I can't afford 143 hanks of Elizabeth LaVolt silky wool. Like 10, and I could have, but I was just intimidated. When you're larger, a lot of it, the brilliance of Amy Herzog's knit to flatter and things like that is a new thing. I shouldn't really say new to me, maybe. And basically, when I started knitting, there was not, like, Big Girl Knits wasn't even out. And so there was not a lot of info as to how to upsize patterns to what you needed to do. It seemed like, okay, you measure around the fullest part of your bust and that's the size you knit. Well, what if you're pear-shaped? This doesn't work. And I wasn't confident enough in my sweater knitting skills to experiment. Like, I wasn't sure how to cast on for, this size up here and then be confident enough that I could make it wider. Or I had a midriff bulge, and that was my widest part. Thanks, fashion industry, for not recognizing that curvy chicks, fat chicks, can have small boobs. Thanks! I don't have a lot in the way of a chest. But my mom and I used to laugh that I inherited the body shape from my dad's family, which was larger tummy, larger back end, nothing up front. So for me to experiment, I wouldn't experiment in the yarns that I loved, that were the pricier yarns, that were not acrylic, that I just loved the feel of. But I wouldn't wear a sweater that was acrylic either. So acrylic is, to me, it has its place. Don't get me wrong, I've knit with it many, many times. I don't have an inherent problem with it, but as a sweater, where it rubs together, it makes us, as silly as it sounded, like a tactile sound to me. I know that is complete, I don't know. But like, I could feel it kind of squeaking and gritting on itself, and that was just, I couldn't do it. So, now that I've lost a lot of weight, I am knitting myself more sweaters. And so this picture that inspired me way back, really when I had just started knitting. Let's see what year this book came out. 2008. So, right about when I started knitting. So I fell in love with this one photo. I thought it was the most beautiful, beautiful image. Oops. Dogs are playing rough. I thought it was the most beautiful thing. I wanted that sweater so badly. I bought the yarn for it. I just never had the gumption to knit it. So now I've cast on for it. Here's the short sleeve version. Mine will probably be like 3/4 length. So I started knitting it. I cast on for it. And here it is. Everything is kind of, I don't want to put anything on the ground just because it's been so rainy and damp. And so I cast on, and it's what I have is the back. That's the section that I started. Here we go. My provisional cast on. And it's lovely. Go. And I guess with the daylight out here, the color is really not coming across at all. But it is this, oh, that's better. Yeah, that's pretty true. It's rusty red. So I love it. I love it. I love the way the yarn feels. I'm having a good time working on it. But I wanted a carry project at the same time, because just the thought of, in this sweltering heat, knitting on a big wool sweater just didn't seem appealing. So I thought, this is my home project, and Drachenfels will be my carry-along project. And there my problems started. Because I cast on Drachenfels, and am finding it such a delightful knit, I haven't put it down. So I am behind, quite behind, on my sweater, because I'm not using it for home knitting. I am knitting Drachenfels all the time. So here it is. Let's see. Get all my extra yarns out of the way. So here you go. Now, I actually had finished this section up here, and then I found a error, like right down here. And it was just like, well, I can correct that, right? I could, yeah. And I kind of looked at it hard, decided, okay, I could either drop back down and correct it. I was pretty confident that I could, or I could essentially duplicate stitch enough to fudge it. But then I found another error down here and said, oh, 2 errors, done. And so I went ahead and ripped it back. So this section up here had already been completed, and now I'm redoing it. So, but I'm okay. I texted my friend Becky, the fabulous Rebecca of Wrapped in Wool podcast, and she's my best friend. I love her so much. I texted her and said, yeah, made errors on Drachenfels and have to rip back a whole section. And she's just like, oh no. And I actually messaged her back and said, I'm perfectly okay with it because this is such an enjoyable knit. This little bit here keeps you interested. I'm in the habit of putting stitch markers. I love these little doohickeys. I put one of those in every 20 stitches, so that way as I increase, because the pattern has you do, like on your increases, you increase the same on 2 of 4 rows and then increase differently on the third set. So each, you knit across and then knit back, so that's one set. And then you do the same increase on the first set and the second set and the third set, you do something different. And so for me, sometimes if I'm in the zone watching a movie or something like that, I don't want to have to go back and keep counting the stitches to see if I'm at that row where I should be doing something different. So I just put a stitch marker on every 20 stitches, so that way I can, go, okay, well, I've got 10 here, and then 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, and then, so 100 plus the 10 on this side, plus whatever I have on this side is my stitch count. It makes life easy. I am all about easy. So this is Drachenfels by Melanie Berg, and it has taken over my knitting life because, honestly, it is just such a freakishly enjoyable knit. Maybe when it's a lot bigger, it'll be a little sluggish. But right now, it is just so dang enjoyable. There's not one single iota of slog in this. So thanks, Melanie Berg. And so these are my colors. This is from a Craftsy kit. I caught a Craftsy sale a little while ago, and actually I just looked this up again because I'm considering doing the red and black one. And so this is my color combo. It's ocean, stormy sky, and sky blue, I think. Let me see if I have the names. Actually, if I was really bright, not generally, but if I was really bright, I could just look at the pattern in the back. So, when you get the pattern through Craftsy, they send you a color key for the Craftsy kits. So I have, stormy skies, sky blue, and ocean. And then there is also one I would like, honestly, this is just such a, for me to knit something once is, hey, I knit it, woohoo! For me to consider knitting something 3 separate times, I love it. So, these are the color combos, and I'm considering doing this black set and this red taupe and black set. Or actually, it's burgundy, taupe heather, and espresso heather. And then the other is black, natural, and then charcoal heather. So when I just went and looked at this Craftsy kit was still on sale at under $20. $20 for a shawl. I'm in. And the yarn that they send you is the Cloudborn. Their Cloudborn Highland. I'm trying to remember if it's Highland Twists or Highland Duo. Let's find out, shall we? Cloudborn Fibers, 100% Highland Wool, Highland Sport. Ignore the giant bee. Okay, here we go. So, if you end up not liking any of the color combos, you can totally just pick it up. I'll swap, pick up other colors, or do something completely different. But honestly, I think under $20 for a shawl kit is a really good deal. And the yarn is a little toothier than I would normally choose. But honestly, I'm really digging it. It's a pleasurable knit. It's pleasurable to knit. It's not splitty. Oh, I hate splitty yarn. So totally enjoyable. Go get yourself one. So that is all I am knitting and all I am spinning this week. Let's see, SVFF is coming up. That is Shenandoah Valley Fiber Festival, and I will be there. There's usually some type of podcaster meetup, so hopefully I'm, going to find out when that is, and then Becky and I will go. We usually go together. She brings her son, the adorable Emmett, my bean, and sorry, bee, my Emmett Bean, and God, he's the cutest thing. And so we just have a good time. She puts him in the stroller. It's funny, we take turns with him while one goes and gets lunch, because we always want something different. So she'll go stand in one line, and then I'll hang out with Emmett, and then we'll switch. She'll hang out with Emmett while I go do something, and then we go in and we look at the animals and visit Neighborhood Fiber Company. Often fall down there. It really is just a wonderful time. It's a much smaller festival than many of them, but it's home. I love it, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. So also coming up is Rhinebeck. Last year was my first year going. It was better than I could have imagined. We found a wonderful place to stay, and hopefully we're going to be staying there again this year. they've had some scheduling stuff, so the gentleman who owns the place is going to get back with me. But I got to meet people I adore, people I idolize. A little starstruck. It's just really wonderful. So if you ever get the chance to go to one of those big fiber festivals and just to go for the experience. My husband went to Maryland Sheep and Wool with me this year, even though his entire plan, my husband loves leatherworking. And he loves a lot of mechanical stuff and 3D printed stuff, and all of that's there at Maryland Sheep and Wool. And he brought a chair, and we put down blankets and made a home base, and that's literally where he camped the whole time. It was great for me and Becky because we could go shop, come back, dump our stuff off, go wander around some more, and it's really nice to kind of have a base set up where you didn't have to worry about leaving your stuff, and that was really nice. But that was the entirety of his experience with the festival, was just hanging out, sitting there by the music stage and relaxing. So if there are any fiber festivals within traveling distance, if you haven't gone, go. We knitters don't bite. But everybody is just so nice. You rarely encounter anybody who's rude. That's kind of been my experience with the whole knitting world. Everybody is kind and trustworthy, and they would give you the stitch marker off their pattern, they're just wonderful. So, to recap today, we are going to try to not eat any more bees. We're going to try to drink more cold brew. We are going to continue to meet every Wednesday night at Happy Creek Coffee. Anybody who's local, please feel free to join us. I hope as soon as I can figure out the logistics of it, and be adding a virtual knit night. I'm going to do it on YouTube via live stream. So as I'm just getting going, I feel like the first few episodes are going to be just me by myself, which is cool. That's cool. But I do want to get a community going. I spent 3 years out here without my knitting community. And I really, truly miss it. I had so many wonderful, wonderful people that I met through my old knitting group, and not being close to them anymore, it hurts my soul. So it's a way to connect. Any of them listening, it's a way to connect with you guys again. It is a way to meet new people, maybe expose some new people to knitting who haven't given it a shot before, because I do have a lot of people I know here who don't knit. It's going to be a way for people to ask questions and have other people who are just really knowledgeable answer them for them or give suggestions and ideas. I know just from the people who are watching now, I know that I'm going to get a couple people responding to my dilemma about my wheel. Oh, please do. I want to know before I'm going to choke Edith. She's misbehaving so badly. Other than that, I will keep knitting on Drachenfels, and I will be trying to knit on some slinky ribs. But I think that's about it. So today, Sunday, July, oh my God. How is this year going by so quick? July, I think 23rd. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. Look me up. I would love it if people would message me and let me know what night works best for them for a virtual knit night. Right now, I am leaning towards Thursdays. My only glitch with doing it on, I think doing it on a weeknight would be great. I think the only problem I have with doing it on a weeknight is if, same thing with knitting group, if it falls on the last day of the month for work, I tend to work late. So I don't get to do any fun things that night because I'm working late. So I would be very interested to know what night a virtual knit night would work for you guys. And other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. I will talk to you next Sunday. Bye.